I'm Cookie, and welcome back to another episode of the Untold Origins, the series where I talk about the backstories of one or multiple minor characters from my series Legends. In today's episode, I'll be talking about Orchid. Centuries ago, Orchid was born in the outskirts of the evergreen forest and grew up in her werewolf pack. Her upbringing was fairly normal, except for one thing. Orchid was a fairy with nature and light magic during a time where fairy magic was still uncommon, as it was still spreading throughout the world. Though she wasn't the only one in her pack who was a fairy, very few of them had magic, so despite her trying her best to learn, she couldn't become very skilled. Instead, she focused on serving her pack in the typical way of hunting, patrolling, and fighting. Orchid grew into one of the best werewolves in the pack, and could have potentially become the alpha if she wanted to. But she didn't, and in fact decided to leave. Though she had her family, friends, and maid Rocky, she wanted to start somewhere fresh and try to understand more about her magic. After many long discussions with her packmates, she decided to leave, with Rocky deciding to come with her. They spent the next few days traveling, looking for their new home. Eventually, they made their way to the Heartlands, which in the future would become Wolverina, and spotted the Beacon of Light, as well as a small village. So, where should we settle? I'm not sure. Hey, what's that in the distance? Perhaps our new home? Orchid and Rocky made their way to the village. At first, the villagers weren't welcoming to the werewolves as they were afraid they would hurt them. However, after convincing that they're harmless, with Orchid showing her magic and promising to use it to protect them, the village's leader, Oakley, allowed them to stay if they proved their worth. And prove their worth they did. Rocky was an excellent hunter, bringing back plenty of food. Orchid, meanwhile, did her best to use her powers to help in any way she could. Though Oakley was impressed by her magic, Orchid admitted that she wasn't very good. So he brought her to someone who could teach her how to better use her magic. As they walked, Orchid spotted some dragons flying above, at which Oakley explained how at the edge of the Heartlands lies a dragon's den, where the supposed Queen of Dragons resides. They soon arrived at a wolf pack, who were very hostile towards them, especially Oakley. Thankfully, one of the wolves came forth and settled everyone down. Oakley introduced her as Tulip, who acts as a peacekeeper between the village, the wolves, and the dragons. After introducing Orchid and explaining the situation, Tulip agreed to train her to use her magic. Over time, as Orchid mastered her magic, the two of them became close friends and would visit each other often. Orchid and Rocky also settled into the village, building their own home, and eventually having two children, a son, Ravine, and a daughter, Olyria. Over the next few years, life was great. However, things started to change. Oakley had gotten more hostile towards outsiders, believing that anything could be a threat to the village. He also started being more aggressive towards the wolf pack, to the point that one day, all the wolves except for Tulip and her mate were gone. Huh? Where did your pack go? They went down south. Oakley and his followers kept attacking us until my pack had enough. Why'd you stay? My pups are due soon, and I have responsibilities here, so I don't plan on leaving. Alarmed by this, Orchid started paying closer attention to Oakley and his actions. Whenever he did something she didn't agree with, she challenged him, resulting in them arguing a lot. It came to the point where Oakley started threatening her family, vowing that if she continued this behavior, they would be punished. Though she backed off a little, she still tried to defy him. One day, when Tulip was visiting, a loud commotion was going on. Orchid and Tulip went to check it out and saw a bunch of hunters returning not with prey, but a half-human, half-dragon struggling to get free. Though Orchid tried to tell them to release her, Oakley arrived and ordered her to back off. The hunters then explained how they caught the half-breed trying to steal their food. Though she denied this, Oakley ordered her to be locked up. When Orchid and Tulip tried to reason with him, he ordered Orchid to head home and told Tulip to leave. Frustrated, Orchid was escorted home and was barred from leaving. Lucky for her, this wasn't the first time this had happened, so she had an escape plan, which was a tunnel that went under her house to the outside. She snuck around, eventually finding where the half-breed was being held. Hello? I'm Orchid. Are you okay? And who are you? I'm alright. The name's Diamond. I'm a dragonborn from the Canyon Colony. I was traveling with my dragon to a different colony to trade for herbs. I swear I didn't mean to cause any trouble. It's okay. I'm so sorry this is happening to you. Just then, Orchid heard something landing and went to check it out. Flying above, though being careful to make sure Oakley didn't spot her, she saw the Queen of Dragons and two of her guards arguing with Oakley. She demanded that he let Diamond go, but he insisted that she deserved to be in prison. After some back and forth, the queen vowed that if he didn't free her by tomorrow, she and her dragons would burn down the village, then left. Despite her warning, Orchid knew that Oakley wouldn't listen and would try to instead fight the dragons. So that night, she made a plan to break out Diamond and take her to the dragons. Rocky did warn her about the consequences if she were to get caught, but she assured him that she wouldn't. She managed to free Diamond and sneak her way out of the village undetected. Or so she thought. Little did she know that Oakley had seen the two of them leaving, but kept quiet. They made it about halfway when they arrived at Tulip's den, who woke up at the sound of them arriving. Orchid begged Tulip to take Diamond the rest of the way, while she went back to cover her involvement. Though she was tired, she agreed, and Orchid returned to the village, covered up the evidence of her helping Diamond, and went back to bed. The next morning, she woke up late as Rocky allowed her to get extra rest. He asked how her mission went, and she said that it went well, then asked about the kids. That's when they heard a loud scream and commotion going on outside. They ran out to the center of the village where everyone was crowding around. There, they saw Ravine lying in the center wounded, with Oakley standing over him with a bloody sword, while another person was holding O'Leary. Orchid and Rocky tried pushing their way through, but were held back. And when Oakley knew that Orchid was watching, he killed Ravine. It was only after he was dead that she was allowed through. Let this serve as a reminder of what happens when you defy me. How could you do this? He was an innocent child. That's exactly why. The only way to teach you a lesson is through suffering. Now, if you continue with your disloyal actions, your daughter will be next, then your mate, then you. Know where your loyalties lie. With that, he ordered a curfew on the whole village, everyone being forced into their homes until the next day. Orchid was forced to leave Ravine lying in the open as she, Rockin, and Oleander were led home. Their family grieved for Ravine, and Orchid realized that as long as Oakley was in charge, no one would be safe. In spite of her grief, she used it to find strength and fuel her desire to stop him. However, she knew that she would need help, so that night, her family escaped through the tunnel. She told Rocky to go on ahead with O'Leary while she went back to collect Ravine's body. Once she did, she caught up to them and made their way to the dragon's den. While traveling, Tulip spotted them, and Orchid explained what had happened. She allowed Ravine's body to be buried on her territory, and Orchid's family spent the night there. It was then Orchid let out all her emotions, her anger, grief, and frustration. After that, she was able to better focus on stopping Oakley. The next day, they made it to the dragon's den, where they were extremely busy cleaning out the den. They then went to the queen, who explained that she was taking her dragons and leaving the Heartlands to go live in the canyon colony. She then revealed how Oakley had attacked 2 nights ago, and how this wasn't the only time he attacked the dragons. He's been at it for months now. He takes more prey than he needs, and whatever is left he poisons. If that wasn't enough, he kills any dragons he can, takes the parts off the corpse, then leaves the rest to rot. His attack 2 nights ago was the final straw. But you can't leave now. I need help stopping him before he hurts anyone else. I'm sorry, but I must do what's best for my subjects. With the humans' population growing, the dragon's time here has come to an end. Just when Orchid had lost hope, Diamond had an idea. While the dragons are leaving the Heartlands, they could distract Oakley's followers while Oakley would stop him. This way, they both get what they want. Tulip also promised to help protect the dragons. Orchid and the Queen agreed to this plan and would enact it as soon as the dragons were ready to leave. This took a few days, so in the meantime, Orchid sparred with a few dragons to better prepare herself. During this, the Queen told her that she was free to use the remains of her den for whatever she needed. Eventually, it was time. Before the sun rose, Orchid started heading towards the village with Tulip flying above her. When they were about halfway, Tulip used her magic to create a symbol, signaling the dragons to come. With Diamond leading the way, the dragons were flying in the direction of the canyon colony, in which they needed to pass the village. Oakley and his followers saw them approaching and, believing that this was an attack, started to fight them. The dragons fought back in self-defense, with Tulip and the Queen ensuring that everyone made it. While Oakley was distracted, Orchid attacked him. The two of them fought with all their might. Even though Orchid had an advantage with her fairy magic, Oakley was an extremely skilled fighter and knew how to fight against magic users. However, despite his efforts, Orchid managed to overpower him and kill him. With his death, his followers stopped fighting the dragons, allowing them to escape the Heartlands. She then gave them a choice, either to stand down and promise not to hurt anyone, or leave the village. Most decided the former, though a few fled. Orchid then arrived at the village and promised everyone that they no longer had to live in fear. The villagers, glad to be free of Oakley's reign, elected her to be their new leader. Though hesitant, she accepted this role to help create a place where everyone could be safe. Some time passed, and the village was better than ever. Orchid and Rocky were great leaders, resulting in the village growing more and more. At Tula's suggestion, they decided to give the village a name. Well, what do you want to call it? Well, Tula told me about this wolf who saved the Heartlands, So you want to name it after her? Not just her, but our children as well. So how does Wolverina sound? It combines all the names. It's perfect. With that, the kingdom of Wolverina was established with their first rulers, Queen Orchid and King Rocky, and their heir, Princess Olyria. Little did they know at the time how much Wolverina would end up impacting the world. And that's all I have for this video. Make sure to comment below what you thought of her backstory. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye!